Hello and welcome. I've got the old man with me today. You remember him, the one that said we'd finish second. Yes, him. It's all right. I've not brought him on to ridicule him. I brought him on because I had a phone call with him earlier and he spoke some sense, which is in itself is a rarity. Which I thought, wait, happy days, like Christmas. Let's get him on and let's see if we can share this sense with everybody else. But I actually wanted to have a little talk about Manuel Lanzini in particular today. And I know that we certainly both, and I know that a lot of you watching this were very, very impressed with his performance. I'm just wondering if it's changed the landscape and the dynamic for Lanzini at the football club, because I thought he was certainly on his way out. Before we get chatting, if you want to support Hammers Chat, please, you can click on the link below, which is patreon.com/Hammers Chat, and you can support us and follow us on Patreon for as little as £3.60 a month. There are several different tiers going up to I think it's $14 a month. I don't know what that is in pounds sterling, but you get lots of additional content. You get to enter competitions. Well, you're automatically entered in competitions. Get discounts off of our merch. They call youngsters like me call it merch. The Declan Rice t-shirt, all that sort of thing, and you get to help Hammers Chat out. Click on the link below. We're basically trying to do this full time. Anyway, enough of that. Manuel Lanzini. Sorry, that's I'm talking to you. I'm not calling you Manuel Lanzini. How impressed were you with him?
I thought he was incredible last night, and I think we've got our old Manu back. If you remember a couple of seasons ago, towards the end of Moyes' first tenure, Lanzini was the king of our midfield in probably those last 10 games. He began to show the form that he had a couple of years before that when Payet was around, and everybody was after him, and as a result, he managed to get his way into the Argentinian World Cup squad, and that's, of course, where he got his injury. And until last night, I don't think we'd really seen that kind of form from Lanzini since the injury, basically. But last night, I thought he was tremendous. He just kept the whole side ticking. He was always available. He was playing simple passes, but the simple passes were always forward-looking and getting the team ticking by. And if you go back a long time ago, there was a player called Ronnie Boyce who was called Ticker, and that was exactly what he did. He did all the unsung work. And I think Lanzini has solved a problem that Moyes didn't think he had a solution to in the present team. And that was, what do you do when Declan or Souček isn't there? The answer has been Noble. Noble was a brilliant player, but his legs are gone. And the one thing you need as a DM is legs. And basically Noble doesn't have them anymore. Manu certainly did last night.
Yeah, no, he did. I wonder, when I looked at it, if it was almost a rebirth for one, a reinvention, maybe, actually, because that time that you're alluding to, he was, I felt, almost partnering Arnautovic. He tended to be the closest player to Arnautovic in that season, the first rescue mission for David Moyes. And they certainly, shared the goals amongst the pair of them. This is a deeper role. This is something different. And I think when you look at that previous role that he played before, which is really a number 10, if you like, well, there are players that get in before him to do that. Namely, first and foremost, Moyes plays Jesse Lingard there. But even before that, before Lingard came in, if you remember, I think it was particularly against the Fulham game. Lingard came in against Aston Villa. Before that, he was actually playing Ben Rama as the number 10. You got the impression if he wasn't going to do that, he'd play 4 now. So it was almost like he was a complete afterthought, Lanzini, for this position. And I looked at him last night, and when we did our Patreon video, I likened him to the way Clarence Seedorf played. But then I thought afterwards, actually, it was a bit more like Pirlo. And I know I'm sort of plucking world-class names out of there, but he was really dictating the flow. I think he was controlling the pace of everything. And just the way that there's a couple of ways you can play defensive midfield, and well, I guess it's more than two. You can play it really badly if you want to, but sometimes just keeping retention of the ball. And sometimes when we were stuck, a fullback might have been stuck because they were pressing. When they were pressing us, Burnley, we were playing our way out of trouble. And just the way we were playing these triangles, and there was a confidence because we had so many technical players. the players were almost saying to each other, "It's okay, I'm marked. You can still pass it to me. You will get the ball back, or I'll flick it round the corner to me mate over there." And I just felt that it brought a real confidence to it. I do think Lanzini was on his way out. I think he was one of them. But I think it will either do one of two things. It will either force a rethink, and let's just assume that this continues, and there's no reason why he wouldn't feature in the team to some degree for the last few games. It either forces a rethink for David Moyes, or his value, which had completely dipped, starts to go up again.
I think there's probably not enough games for it to make that much of a difference to his value, but I certainly think Moyes will have a total reappraisal. And the thing about Lanzini is that he gives you several things, because he can go back to that number 10 role. Yeah, he wouldn't be the first in the starting lineup. Fornals is probably third in the list for that. But Fornals, brilliant though he is, the one thing he lacks is pace. Lanzini's got a little bit more pace about him, and he can change pace. Fornals can't. And again, that's one of the problems that we have with, if you were going to say Souček has got a fault, that is literally his only fault, that he hasn't got a change of pace. Lanzini certainly has. He's also pretty much two-footed, and I think that's very important. We've got a lot of players who are very comfortable on either foot. Creswell, brilliant left back. He's not worried about going on to his right foot. Declan Rice certainly isn't. Ogbonna again's left-footed, but he's quite comfortable on his right foot. It's so important, I think, in this day and age, that you have lots of players who are able to do different roles and are comfortable playing on either side of the pitch. And Lanzini certainly is. I think we've seen a bit of a rebirth, and I think Moyes was in a rush to get Declan back, and who wouldn't be? But he might even think now, maybe I will have Declan on the bench, because I don't want to take the risk. Who knows? Nice option to have. Who do you drop out of last night's performance? Possibly Diop, but if Ogbonna recovers, but nobody else who played last night deserves to be dropped.
No, and do you think? Fornals was exceptional.
His flick for that, the start of the first goal was sensational, and it's not the first time he's done that. And he seems to pick the right time to do that sort of thing. Whereas Benrahma, for instance, always seems to take the wrong option. Fornals rarely does, and he was very unlucky not to score last night, I thought, when Antonio managed to block his shot. I
thought it was completely miscontrolled, the shot. I think I thought it was I gave him man of the match, because I just thought he showed things that I didn't think he had. I've been a big fan of Lanzini for some time, and I said before the game I thought Lanzini was going to have a good game. I tipped him to get a goal. That's how highly I rate him. Lanzini didn't do anything that I didn't know he could do, but I think Fornals in that game, I thought, there's some other things there, particularly his tackling, his interceptions. So, this is offering another option to Moyes, that maybe had Moyes thinking, hold on, I can use this guy slightly differently.
Well, we've now got so many players. I mean, one of Lanzini's great attributes has always been that he would chase back, and he'd follow a fullback all the way from one corner flag to the other if necessary, and he doesn't give away silly fouls. He's always done that. I just think one of the things that we're seeing now is we're seeing lots of leaders on the pitch, not necessarily in the way they're verbose or anything, but just the way they're playing, and leading by example. I'm so impressed with the team spirit at the moment, but of course the real test of team spirit is what happens when you go behind and you've really got to claw things back. I mean, to be honest, we did show team spirit yesterday. we'd come off the back of 2 defeats. We hadn't experienced that since the first 2 games of the season. And to come back from that and play like we did yesterday against Burnley, a difficult ground.
He means Monday. He's not got it. They're not watching this on Tuesday.
But no, I'm just so impressed with the side. They really remind me of not the old Nottingham Forest sides of under Cloughy, where they're all playing for each other, and the sum of the parts is much greater than the individual efforts combined. And if we look at last night, if you talk to anybody out who hasn't been watching West Ham all season, they'll be saying, "Oh, well, West Ham are really lucky. They're riding on the back of Lingard's really good form." But we've been playing like this now for a very, very long time. One of the stats that came up yesterday was that we've scored 2 goals in 11 games since New Year's Day. The only team who scored more than that in more games is Man City. No one else has. Chelsea hasn't done it. Man United haven't done it. I mean, Man United had 7 0-0 draws this season in the Premier League.
Boring.
Yeah,
Boring.
Absolutely.
Anyway, listen, hold it there, right? Because we're going to be back tomorrow. Not for you. You stay there, all right? It's today. It's still today as far as we're concerned. I'm going to end the video now, and then we're going to talk some more about Soufal, which I know you want to talk about. You can't listen to this now if you're watching this. You've got to tune in tomorrow, because while he's here, I'm going to make use of him. Make hay while the sun shines, or something like that. Anyway, right, we will be back tomorrow talking about Soufal and a couple of other things.